We all remember our first steps into gaming. The first time we held a controller, the first game that completely absorbed us, and those endless hours spent exploring virtual worlds. Back in the 80s and 90s, game cartridges were our most prized possessions. Owning a collection felt like having a treasure chest of endless adventures. We saved up money to buy new ones, rented them when we couldn't afford to own them, and swapped them with friends to experience as many games as possible. Just seeing a stack of colorful cartridges was enough to spark excitement. For me, that journey started on the NES, with a handful of cartridges that became my introduction to gaming. 4 games shaped my early days: soccer, kung fu, Mach Rider, and the legendary Super Mario Bros. In this video, I want to take a trip down memory lane and revisit my first experiences with these games, the ones that introduced me to the world of gaming. Soccer. Not love at first sight, but a memory forever. Let's be real, when I first played this game, I wasn't impressed. The cartoony graphics, the stiff movements, and the simple gameplay didn't match the football I imagined. I wanted something realistic, something that actually felt like football. Instead, I got tiny, chubby players sliding around like they were on ice. But years later, I realized something. Soccer wasn't just a game, it was a memory. It became part of those after-school moments, playing with my brother, laughing, competing, and just having fun. And while it wasn't a groundbreaking football game, it was one of the best experiences available at the time. Funny enough, later on, I found Konami Hyper Soccer on the NES, and that became my favorite football game on the console. But somehow, soccer still stayed in my heart as one of those old, sweet experiences that remind me of where it all started. Kung Fu, the birth of beat-em-up genre. This was my true favorite at the time. Kung Fu, or as some might know it, the NES port of Kung Fu Master, had everything a kid could want. Action, a hero, an evil villain, and waves of enemies trying to stop you. It was short but exciting, and unlike many brutally difficult NES games, it was actually beatable. Maybe that's why I loved it so much. What I didn't know back then was that I was playing the game that started the beat-em-up genre. The simple but addictive gameplay, punching and kicking enemies across multiple floors to rescue your kidnapped girlfriend, became the blueprint for so many classics that followed. But as a kid, I wasn't thinking about gaming history. I was just having a blast, taking down bad guys and trying to save Sylvia. Mach Rider, the game that never ended. Mach Rider was different. My brother loved it, but for me, it was tough, fast, and honestly a bit too hard. You were thrown onto these endless roads, dodging enemies, avoiding obstacles, and just trying to survive. And it never seemed to end. Level after level, road after road, it felt like an endless loop. To this day, I still wonder, does this game even have an ending? If anyone actually finished it, let me know in the comments. Even though I didn't play it as much as the others, Mach Rider had a certain coolness to it. The high-speed action, the adrenaline, the feeling of barely making it past a tough section. It had a unique charm. Back then, I didn't fully appreciate it, but I have to respect how different and ambitious it was for its time. Super Mario Bros. A slow start, then an obsession. Super Mario Bros. Needs no introduction. It's one of the most iconic games ever. But here's the funny thing. I didn't even know who Mario was when I first played it. I had no idea he was some famous character. To me, it was just another game in my collection. And at first, it wasn't even my favorite. But the more I played, the more it grew on me. Eventually, I wasn't just playing to reach the end. I was replaying to explore every level, break every wall, and find every hidden mushroom, coin, and star. Beating the game once wasn't enough. We had to go back and destroy every single block just to see what was inside. And that's when I truly fell in love with it. Super Mario Bros. Wasn't just a game. It was an adventure. A game that rewarded curiosity, discovery, and persistence. And looking back, I can say that it was the first game that truly taught me how to play video games. Gaming has come a long way since those early days. Graphics are more realistic, mechanics are deeper, and worlds are bigger than ever. But nothing quite compares to those first experiences. The joy, the frustration, the discoveries that made us fall in love with gaming in the first place. And you know what? I still go back to these games sometimes on my gaming handheld. But of course, it never quite feels the same. Not because the games have aged or lost their magic, but because we're not those kids anymore. Still, for a few moments, they bring back that feeling, that nostalgia. They remind us of a time when all we needed was a controller, a TV, and endless hours to play. And that's why, no matter how much gaming evolves, these classics will always have a special place in our hearts. What were your first gaming experiences? What games shaped your childhood? Let's share our memories in the comments.